Hi, I'm Troy. Here are some things I've been working on this year. The link to this website is copied in my folder if you'd like to follow along. My work is rooted in publishing through both print and web. I'm exploring how the process of making things public reveals how we interface with spaces and structures we inhabit. These are a couple of fonts I made during my time at CCA. Some are related to specific projects, or are based off of fonts by other designers I'm inspired by. Here's the first project I made during thesis year, where I took our micro-thesis prompt and isolated the words that were in parentheses, then removed the surrounding contextual information. I reso-printed the 4 layers onto one sheet of paper, scanned it, and published it back to the class Moodle. For our material obstruction, we were given Apple's spinning wheel indeterminate progress indicator. I created a web page that stretches the color wheel so that each pixel fills the height of the entire screen. I also included a link to Apple's developer website where you can read about their human interface guidelines and understand how their design ideology has stretched across the globe. Later, I separated the RGB colors into CMYK layers and printed them in cornflower blue, fluorescent pink, yellow, and black on the risograph. Here's what the animation would look like if it were printed from the website. In this project, I tried publishing from my window, first using satellite imagery from Google Maps, then Street View's 360-degree photospheres. I held my phone out my window and stitched together photos in a half sphere. I was careful not to turn the camera back into my room, because this would violate Google's privacy guidelines, which forbids users from publishing photos or videos taken from the interior of private residences. Once approved for publishing, I used their face and license plate blurring tool to create censored letter forms. Then I printed this collection of screenshots, which you can see down here. While studying the graphic identity of Desmoulins Lamonnais, I screen recorded myself redesigning elements of their posters, then loaded these GIFs onto a cracked iPad and played them face down onto the scanning bed of a risograph machine. After printing these still images, I scanned them back onto the computer, zoomed in on the high-resolution ink, and laid out a book like the acts of an opera performance. I later printed the book using lulu.com and staged these photos back on the scanning bed of the Riso. This summer, I hosted a virtual workshop titled Revolutionary Fonts. Over the 3-hour session, 12 participants gathered to learn a brief history of type design, then used a free tool called FontStruct to build their alphabets. I later made a type specimen containing participants' work and conversations about lowercase and uppercase R revolutions. The middle section is folded so that each spread brings 2 different voices together. The publication can also be deconstructed into individual posters. Here, the workshop entered the public as wheat-pasted posters around the city. I also created a font family with letters from each participant, which you can try out along with individual fonts themselves here. Looking out my window, I began paying attention to the patterns of container ships parked in the bay. I wanted to trace these physical movements online, so I used a site called vesselfinder.com. I noticed that the parked ships leave circular trails as they orbit their anchors, which is caused by wind blowing them around or tides coming in and out. The territory of water I was looking at is called the Forbidden Anchorage because explosive oil tankers park there. Here you can see their anchor swing circles, which are calculated by ship captains so that they don't collide with other ships. I compiled my trail of research into an arena channel. I also deconstructed different graphic elements and reassembled them into a poster. Then I built a font inspired by this invisible anchor zone. Shortly after, container ships made worldwide news when the Ever Given got stuck in the Suez Canal. While it was parked there, previously relentless flows of global capitalism seemed to slow down, prompting a heavy stream of memes and public familiarity with VesselFinder.com's interface. Before it was dug out, I printed screenshots tracking the tugboat's attempts to free the Ever Given, and other imagery collected during this brief moment. Here you can see the screens printed in orange, pink, and teal inks. This is an index currently still in progress for Silas Monroe's Black Data course, where I'm compiling artists and designers I admire who are reimagining digital space. I hope for the site to act as a community interface where research, practitioners, and ideas can meet. I've also been collaborating on a project called Butthole Press with 3 friends, Nagash, Jason, and Juan Pablo. At the start of the pandemic, around this time last year, we formed a design studio/printing collective, which operates online and out of our apartment. It began with our shared love of the Riso when we found a machine on Craigslist for $200. We've evolved since then, expanding into web design and other forms of publishing. Here are some sites we built for UCLA's biennial, Wesleyan's lecture series, and UCLA's MFA Open Studio. In this project, we got to test out some ideas in public space, using O's generated during the Revolutionary Fonts workshop as elements of the identity and navigation. During this time of isolation, I've been very fortunate to have this platform to collaborate and publish work both on and offline. Moving forward, I'll be putting this into a book and publishing it through our press. Thank you.